Hello and welcome to my first video on my travel channel. I'm so excited and I hope you enjoy it and hopefully consider traveling to the places I tell you about. So I went to Martinique over February break, and for those who don't know, Martinique is part of France, so they speak French there. The first place we visited was an old distillery and sugar plantation called Plantation in Le François. It smelled like rum because they still make it there. And here is a picture of me in one of the storage barrels, so you can see just how much rum is produced. The original machinery and sugarcane presses are still there, and interesting to see for yourself. Here's a specky tree I found. Here is the view from the master's house. Again, there were slaves working in the sugarcane fields here, and this is the house itself. I really enjoyed this location. I thought it was very scenic and very historic too, so I highly recommend it. Alright, so this next place was a cockfight arena in the Bois Soldat. Now before you freak out, yes, it's rooster fights, but the first thing you should know about these is that the roosters are not bred to fight each other. It's a special breed that instinctively is just not good with other roosters, so it's just natural for them to fight each other. Second, you have to know that this is a very, very cultural part of Martinique. Taking this away would be like taking away bullfights in Spain. And it was really quite an experience, honestly. It's really interesting. So, first they weigh the roosters to make sure that the competition is a fair fight. The man in white is the referee. This is what he does for a living, and it's a whole economy. I mean, these people bet huge sums of money on these roosters, and basically how it works is if you win, then you get double of what you put in, and if you lose, then you just don't get anything. And we actually ended up seeing a round of the fighting. It really wasn't that bad. It lasted about 5-6 minutes, and there wasn't any blood, and they didn't die. So what happens is that whatever rooster loses and whoever wins, they both kind of retire for a couple weeks and get better, and then they are back into the fighting and they compete again. So I honestly was glad that I stayed for the fighting. At first we were really reluctant. We ate a nice meal of goat meat, which was actually so delicious, and then we thought maybe we would leave, but we ended up staying, and I'm glad because, I mean, where and when else would I see this? And I thought it was a very good cultural experience, so I highly recommend it if you ever get a chance. Then we went to a marina, which was great. We had a boat with a compartment underneath where you could see all the reef and the fish, but it wasn't super worth it because there are other beaches where you can just do snorkeling and see even more fish up close for yourself, so, you know, just something fun to do. Now this place is a artist's colony, and it's one of my favorite places on the island, and it's a bunch of cute little boutiques, and then behind it all are these very old slave cabins from the slaves who worked here on the sugar plantations, which is very haunting to see. Then we went into town to visit Fort-de-France to do some shopping, and I found this woman pressing sugarcane to get the juice, which I got to try. It was very sweet and very refreshing over ice. It was just great to do. We went to the market also, where this man cut open a coconut for me to drink the milk and eat the meat inside, and that was something I really wanted to do for so long. Le Diamant is another beautiful scenic area. It's a large rock that played a role in the Napoleonic Wars because the British captured it basically to make the French angry. Instead of taking the whole island, they just took this one rock. So now it's a bird sanctuary, but there are still ruins on it from the 1800s, and it's just a beautiful scenic place. There are beaches and everything. It's great. This was one of the last places we visited. It's this gorgeous, huge garden, basically, called the Jardin de Balata. And this man who grew up in a wealthy family, which the people here would call a béquet, basically he's a white man who was born in Martinique. And these people were very, very wealthy. And he brought over all these plants from Africa and Asia, and basically just made this huge garden in his childhood home on the land that he grew up on. And it's gorgeous. I mean, there are just all these flowers that you only see in books, and I got to see them, you know, for real. It was so beautiful. I loved it so much. So the next place I'm going to show you is a spot that we didn't go to this time around, but we went 2 years ago. It's La Ville Saint-Pierre, and it's a town that was completely decimated by this volcanic eruption in 1902, killing many, many people, also people from neighboring towns who were seeking refuge in this city that was supposedly safe. La Montagne Pelée is the volcano that erupted, and the one person who survived was a prisoner who was actually in this cell. and he was able to escape the ashes because the cell was just so small and didn't really have any air coming through it. So these are remnants of the theater. There was this gorgeous theater there, and now all that's left is the grand staircase and the stage over there. You can kind of tell I'm right over there. And this spot was just my favorite because it's just so haunting and so beautiful and really historic and really interesting because it looks like it all just happened yesterday. And people still live here, obviously, just the ruins are all around. It's really cool. So I hope you enjoyed this video. That's all I have time for. And I really hope you consider going to Martinique. You really don't have to speak French to go there. And subscribe to my channel, and I'll put out a new video as soon as I travel. Bye. Bon voyage.